in life are always worth taking. Love and money is always worth making. Just grab on and hold on tight. You're in for the ride of your life.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Beyond the Arc podcast. We are returning after a week of absence due to the holidays. Hope everyone had a Merry Christmas. Levi, how's it going?
Doing well, other than I got COVID pneumonia and the flu all at once right now. So I'm I'm okay. How you doing, man?
Doing pretty good. Sounds like I'm doing better than you are at the moment.
I really could have used some ball. I've not been doing too well health wise, but it would have been nice if it had maybe happened in the middle of the SEC schedule or something where I could have caught some more basketball. So, but I'm glad to be back. It's great to hear from you, man. I hope your holidays were great, and let's get to it, man.
All right, let's do it. I guess we can touch a little bit on Arkansas then. I mean, it's I think one of the most anticipated matchups on the schedule whenever the schedule came out. I mean, you got the return of Jonas Adu. There seems to be no, I don't want to say, I don't want to say there's hurt feelings there, but there's no love lost. I don't think on Tennessee's side of things. What are your first thoughts when you want to preview Arkansas, Levi?
As you stated, Jonas Adu's return, which I don't know if you saw the videos back in the springtime when Adu had first transferred. He he was on FaceTime with a couple of the guys that are on roster here now, and they were like, "You miss Knoxville," and he was like, "Man, I miss Knoxville so much." So I'm thinking that I'm going to keep my mouth shut because he's going to be able to hear me down there. I personally was a big Jonas Adu fan. Thought he was a great rebounder. Thought he was a solid player here. Money gets involved. It's rough what we're dealing with when it comes to the transfer portal and everything, but especially in basketball. You got guys like Adu who likely could have returned, but did not because the Arkansas entire roster is brand new. So they flipped their entire roster and they paid Adu well. So good for Adu. He's been hurt most of the year. So we'll see how much run he gets. I like the matchup with him against Okpara because he's not a great finisher against a guy with size and athleticism. So I like that. I will say though, Tiero, who transferred from Kentucky to Arkansas, is very good this year. Arkansas doesn't shoot the ball well. They have Ivisic who does, but past him, there's not a whole lot of guys on that team that shoot the ball too well. DJ Wagner, which we saw last year at Kentucky, he's fine, but overall I really like Tennessee in this game, especially at home, coming out of conference play. We've already seen a common opponent with Illinois, and Illinois with this Arkansas team and Baylor as well. So I like the fact that we're opening at home here, but man, we got a rough January. I'm not sure what you think. I'm sure you think we'll win, but where do you think the X factor will be?
The X factor for the Arkansas game depends on how much Jonas Adu plays, but I think it's going to come down to can Felix Okpara win that battle against Jonas Adu? And I mean, you mentioned it. Felix Okpara is kind of the antithesis of Jonas Adu. Jonas Adu is more of a finesse, turnaround jump shot, try to stretch the defense, while his Felix Okpara is more of that bang down low, turnaround jump hook, maybe try to dunk on you, something like that. I think if Felix can do a good job of boxing out Okpara and anyone else he may be guarding at the time, Ivicic, as you mentioned, I think that will be a crucial part, as well as to Tennessee not turn the ball over. Boogie Flan is a pretty good shooter, 39% of the year, has active hands too on defense. He's gets about 2 steals per game, I do believe. I think Zakai Ziegler is going to have to make some smart, disciplined passes. As we mentioned before, he kind of gets in that mode where he tries to force a few things down low, particularly to Okpara and Cade Phillips. Sometimes it works out and you get a spectacular dunk, and sometimes you're left scratching your head. DJ Wagner, you mentioned, is a good shooter, 41% from three on the year. Jonell Davis from FAU transfer has struggled a bit. Seems to get his foot has struggled a bit to get his footing underneath him in the SEC, and I'm gonna have to say that the X factor will come down to just how Tennessee is able to come out. If Tennessee comes out and jumps on them early, I think Tennessee blows them out, possibly. If they come out and they kind of struggle early, I could see it being a close game, honestly.
It's gonna be a tight game, I believe. I mean, somehow Coach Cal, his guys in TBA for some reason decide that they're going to turn into Steph Curry. So last year, man, I mean, it was ridiculous. Like Austin Reeves, Jesus Christ. Oh my Lord, dude. Another white basketball player, I
Which
guess. They all just
he did play at Arkansas, so wait a minute. No, he's
he
from
started
Arkansas. He's from
he's
Arkansas.
from Arkansas. Yeah, he did start his basketball career in Arkansas. I'm sorry. I don't remember the guy from last year,
Reed
which
Shepard.
was there we go. Shepherd, which we laughed about the other day. I was like, I can't remember anything when I'm put on the spot, but Shepherd just decided he was just going to be, prime Steph Curry last year. That they didn't miss, which it didn't help that we, had our senior night and it was very emotional and all this. But it just seems like anytime that Calipari brings his squad to Tennessee, his guys are ready to go. And I'm sure they'll have a little extra because of Jonas and all that. So we'll see. I agree with you 100%, though. I think we're going to be perfectly fine. I like us to get the win. I just think it's going to be a tight game, which in TBA, I think the atmosphere has been a lot better recently. So that's nice. And hopefully we can keep that atmosphere as a fan base because TBA is becoming a joke compared to some of these places.
Yeah, I mentioned I've noticed it during the MTSU game. The crowd seemed a little bit more lively than, but that could have been uh, to do with it being a closer game. But the crowd seemed to be pretty lively and into it for the majority of the game. You was there, so I don't know what you thought. Did you feel like the crowd was in it?
That's the best I've heard the crowd in a very, very long time. I don't know who was at that game. I don't know who brought those people. I don't know where those people came from. But if I can figure out a way to pay for those people to be in that arena every time we play a basketball game, I'll figure it out. Go ahead and start giving NIL money from the football to those people because Jesus Christ, man, it was incredible.
Uh, you know, at first we wasn't going to talk about this, but I guess I will say something real quick, and then we'll get on to our hardly known hoopers. As we everyone knows by now, Cameron Carr decided to enter the transfer portal and leave the team early in the middle of the season. I'm just going to kind of reflect what Rick Barnes said. I mean, they said Carr just kind of walked out on the team, and I don't think there's no way to put it other than saying he quit on his team. It's disappointing, but he seems to believe there is opportunity for him elsewhere, and wish him the best of luck. But at the same time, I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't a little irritated and upset about it. But anyway, let's move on to our hardly known hoopers. Levi, I'll let you take the floor first.
Oh no, you get to go first again because I know you got the good one.
Absolutely. Let me grab my cheat sheet here for pronunciation.
Yeah, you've been working on it, huh?
Yep. All right. So my guy is Gidis Nemik. Sure. That is the pronunciation on the Hawaii website. He is a senior, stands about 6'8", averaging 14.7 points per game, 6.8 rebounds, 52% from the field. Most recently against Oakland, had a 25-point performance coming off a one point performance, which is kind of out of character. 11 rebounds. He's kind of almost reminded me a lot of Igor Milicic watching him play. I'm not so sure if you. I know you've gotten to watch him, but I was just going to mention like everybody else. But yeah, my guy has to be Gidis Nemec. Sure.
So that guy can play.
Yes, he
I
can.
I know you text me and you were like, well, we need to figure out a way to get this guy another year of eligibility. And you know what, man? I'd be all for it. I'd be all for it because man, he's so good. He is very, very good. I love to watch him play. You just never know though.
Yeah.
He could be a Anasicki, type guy in the SEC. But man, he's real good. My hardly known hooper is Cooper Campbell from Troy, freshman, 6'2" combo guard. Really, shoots about 60% from three, which he doesn't take a whole lot. He's not taking over 20 this year, but he's an incredible finisher around the rim, which, as I guess everybody that listens knows, that I really like a guy that finishes around the rim and gets to the hole. Well, he's really good, man. I don't know if you've ever watched Cooper Campbell from Troy, but he's on a really bad team, but I would expect him to end up on a very high level D1 team after what he's been putting up this year so far. So,
I'm going to cheat a little bit here and add one more just to honorable mention. Actually,
oh yeah,
this will be the first lady that has been mentioned as hardly known
ooh,
hoopers.
okay.
Kiyomi McMiller, a freshman at Rutgers, 5'8", averages 20 points per game on 44% from the field. Recently had a 35-point outing against Ohio State. Not Ohio State, but Lafayette, a 31-point outing. She played 35 minutes. She is a tremendous ball handler. I don't know if you've gotten the chance to see her play, but if you haven't, I'll send you some clips later. The things she does with the basketball is some things that I've never seen done before on a basketball court, especially in college. And to just be a freshman, she's pretty impressive.
I can't lie, man. I do love women's ball as much as a lot of people sit and say like, "Oh, you watch, blah, blah, blah." Like, no, women's basketball, it's incredible. You don't have to be an athlete. You have to have skill. You have to have the drive. And a lot of these girls, dude, I mean, like when I was in high school, there was a girl that played with us that could outshoot anybody on our men's team. So I'm going to take women's ball over men's ball. Uh, if there's no good games on, I'm
Yeah,
gonna watch some women's ball. But man, shout out the Lady Vols, man.
absolutely.
114 points. Oh my goodness, Dallas. We went and found one. Well, I say we, but Danny White went and found one where it's just it's. I mean, did you watch it all last night or listen it all last night? Them Winthrop girls were like they could barely get up the court. We were just getting
Yes.
layups and wide open threes. They were they were struggling just to breathe against us, and that's funny. The roster that Kim Caldwell has right now is not even close to the roster she's going to have with the players that she wants.
I mean, she's got
And
one of the top five classes coming in.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I know this is we talk more men's ball than we do women's ball, but Jesus, man, I mean, I don't see a way that the Lady Vols aren't in the Final Four in the next 2 years. Not with the way she recruits and the way that the players are buying in, which is what you want to see, which they did for Josh Heupel too. But it's panic mode for the football team apparently right now. So
Yeah, that's a whole different subject for a whole different day. All right, let's time to transition on to our college basketball pick'em. The current records as they sit, I'm 6-6, so a Tennessee football team from about 10 years ago. Levi, you are 5-7. We had a good week last time we had our pick'ems. We both went 3-1.
you rigged it to start. You did. Don't laugh. See, you're laughing, but you know it's true. You rigged
Ah,
it.
I did no such thing. All right, we are going to open up with. Actually, we got 3 SEC games and 1 ACC game this week. Let's open up at Florida at Kentucky. I was tempted to take Kentucky just because they are at home and this will be their first test since getting destroyed by Ohio State. And while I still want to take Kentucky, I'm for some reason going to go with Florida just for the sake of vibes, to be honest.
Yeah, I'll take Kentucky in this one. I like Kentucky. I think that the Florida's more physical, but I like Kentucky in that game.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, going on to the next game, we got Georgia at Ole Miss. Ole Miss just is coming off a loss to Memphis in which they looked lethargic. Georgia seems to have been off to a pretty nice start. Mike White has his guys humming. I'm going to take Georgia to get an upset victory on the road.
I like Ole Miss in this one only based off the performance that they had against Memphis the other day.
When I look, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was just saying that I think that overall, when I look at these two teams, that Georgia they're kind of weak inside, and Ole Miss, Chris Beard, they always have a good, strong inside team. So I like Ole Miss to just kind of bully Georgia and win that game. And they played bad the other day against Memphis. So Chris Beard's teams do not perform bad back to back. So I'll take Ole Miss on that one.
I will say, normally when these games like this, that I have a hard time deciding. I feel like it's a 50-50 game. I go to Haslametrics or somewhere like that and look at what the prediction is, and Haslametrics favored Ole Miss by a point. And I ain't gonna lie, I flipped a coin and Georgia was heads and it landed on heads. So that's how I chose to take Georgia. Moving on to the only ACC game of the slate that I've selected, Duke at SMU. I just don't know why I picked this game. It kind of stood out to me. Duke is favored, I believe, by about 7.5. I kind of feel skittish taking John Shire on the road. I'm still not a big believer, but I'm going to take Duke to pull it out here and probably in a close one.
Yeah, I like Duke as well. Duke, they're going to be a problem come March. I hate to say it because I just cannot stand Duke, but they're going to be a problem come March. I mean, in metrics wise, they continue to measure up to us defensively, which is just weird to me because I feel like I've watched enough of both teams at this point to say, our defense is better. But metric wise, Duke continues to be a little higher than we are. And as we all know, Houston and Tennessee are very similar teams. They're coached similar, they play similar, just kind of what we do. But I'll take Duke. And you also, this is not the last game, Dallas, because you said that we would pick the Tennessee Arkansas game as well.
Absolutely. This is the first time Tennessee has been on the pick 'em. I've tried to steer away from it because I feel like we're both going to be a little bit biased. But to be honest, there just wasn't many other games on Saturday. These games all take place on Saturday, by the way. So for the reasons I mentioned earlier, I'm going with the Vols. Levi, who do you got?
I like Tennessee in this game. As I said earlier, it's going to be close. Calipari's team always shoots the ball well, and Thompson pulling it does not make any sense, but they do. I would expect them to come out hot, or maybe we come out hot. I have no idea. I think that since we play Norfolk and then we get a little rest, that our guys will be very fired up. I don't know. Rick Barnes in the regular season just coaches his team so well. It's so weird, but it is what it is. I mean, everybody knows what we want to do, and they can't stop it because we're more physical. We have a better culture. We're stronger than everybody else. So it's nice to say that we're a great regular season team, but then again, we're coming off an Elite Eight, which is the best we've ever done in program history. So I can't sit and say that Rick Barnes is not a great tournament coach anymore because he's taken steps with this program that I never thought would be taken before. I mean, you have an SEC regular season title, and we've won a tournament title, SEC tournament, sorry, and then, made an Elite Eight. So there's no better than Rick Barnes for me personally, I am perfectly fine with Rick Barnes. If he wants to keep coaching for 20 more years and he can, let's do it. But once again, I'm taking us to the exit that you're telling me not to go on. But I like this basketball team, man. I think it's a really good basketball team. And the more I see of D Stone, DeBar, the more I
Absolutely.
like. And is regardless of where our depth's at, the best Barnes team, in my opinion, ever only played 7 to 8. So if we can get, 7 to 8 guys ready to go, I think that's better for us. Sorry. I
Absolutely.
told you, man, you drive the bus, but I'm always like, hey, Dallas, that's our exit. And you're like, no, that's not our exit. I'm like, that's our exit. And then the next thing you know, we're over here talking about whether or not, our okra is going to grow next year or something.
Yeah, I mean, I'll beat the drum as long as anyone will listen. And heck, I'll go stand at Rupp Arena, fill the place up, and I will shout from the rooftop that I feel like under Rick Barnes, Tennessee has become a top 5 program nationally. And I'll say it, I think they're the face of the SEC for the moment. I mean, Tennessee is since 2020, 2019 has been the best program in the SEC steadily, consistently, and I will beat that drum for the remainder of Rick Barnes' tenure. Um, Talking about depth, I feel like I should mention this real quick before we get off here. Tennessee should have Bishop Boswell back. It seems for the Arkansas game, he could be back for Norfolk, but I think it'd be better just hold him out and let him play in Arkansas. You got anything else you want to add, Levi, before we get off here?
I just would like to ask, who would you like for the main replacement of Rick Barnes? If you can give me just a random name or something that for sure you'd love, I
Ben,
would just like to hear it from you.
if I had my choice, it'd be TJ from Iowa State. I'm not even going to attempt that name,
Otzelberg.
Otzelberg, but I don't think that's going to be the direction we go in. I'm just going to say, I mean, Ben McCollum, what he's done at Drake has been tremendous. He's got them receiving. I think I think they came in second receiving votes this week in the AP. What he's done for them and what he's done everywhere. Honestly, I mean, he's already won a national championship at the D2 level. His path kind of reminds me of Kim Caldwell's. Started.
Have you heard the story about this team he has this year?
I have
He
not.
brought he brought 5 players with him to Drake from Northwest Missouri State. And everybody was like, there's no way that you can bring all these D2 players into D1 and like everything's going to work out well. Well, guess what? They're 11-0. I mean, transfer, transfer, transfer. He's got like 7 transfers on his roster, all from D2. And this man just coaches them up. I would love if we could get McCollum, I would love it because he's my type of coach, and that's an incredible answer, Dallas. Absolutely incredible. Uh, I would personally donate my salary if I got to figure out a way to get McCollum to
Maybe
coach the balls.
we'll have to send a
Because
pigeon. Go ahead.
we'll send whatever we got to, man. I'll send the rat.
Send a letter by pigeon mail to Danny White, just a
He's
blank check to say fill it out,
Yeah,
we'll pay it.
yep. Just bring me McCollum and we're good to go. I'm not worried about it. But yeah, man, McCollum's a great answer. I personally have asked this question to numerous people, and most like the Samford coach.
Bucky McMillan.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of him, to be
No,
honest.
I think he's
He's
watered down Nate Oates.
Yeah, you'd never guess who brought him up, and everybody else was like, "Oh yeah, he's great." And I'm like, I'm not a huge fan of the. I like a guy that comes in, instills the ability and the want to rebound and play defense.
Absolutely.
Maybe that comes from me growing up watching Pat Summitt, and Pat Summitt had a men's camp back in the day, and there was nobody ever in my life that was very much about, the ability to play defense and rebound is just you.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think why you and I are both very similar in the ways that we are when it comes to basketball. Maybe we both grew up watching Pat, but Pat coached the game right. And I was sitting in Thompson Bowling the other day, and I was looking, and I was like, "Oh my God, she won the SEC championship 9 years in a row."
The greatest of all
I don't,
time.
I don't think there's a better coach, men or women's, than Pat Summitt at this
Absolutely.
point, because you look back and it's like I'm in there and I'm watching the games and I'm like, it's almost insane how much this woman won. I mean, like, she's incredible, and the way she coached was incredible. And I think Rick Barnes coaches similar. And I would love to have another Rick Barnes style guy, and I think McCollum would be very much up there. But as you said, we're a top 5 program at this point, and there's no reason that somebody wouldn't leave a Drake or somewhere to come coach here.
Absolutely. And we got about 5 minutes left. I refuse to pay the Zoom version where you can get a longer Zoom meeting. So I'm just going to ask this question
Is this why you're always so quick?
Yes. I refuse to pay it. They will get it from me someday. It's a 40-minute limit.
Oh my God, I'll pay it.
But just real quick here, one real quick question. Yes or no, is Jonas Adu involved in a scuffle on Saturday?
No, not at all. He doesn't know Akpara. He doesn't know Milicic. Uh, I mean, D Stone might start something. He likes to do
Yeah.
the if I bully you. I'll tell you one thing about D Stone, man. He's a dog. He will dog you out, and he's hit the too small a couple times. So if D Stone catches one in the paint, puts Adu in the blender, and then finishes over him, he may hit him with the too small, and that's where it could happen. But nah, he won't because well, I don't know.
I
You
don't
got
see it
guys
happening.
you got guys like Jemai Mashak and Zakai Ziegler who are great people off the floor, but the moment they step on the floor, I would not like to be out there with them. So
Me
yeah,
neither.
it could happen. I'll put it at 50-50. We'll say that.
That sounds good. That's about right, I think. Anyway, we'll sign off here and we'll be back next week. Thanks for tuning into the Beyond the Arc podcast, and we'll see you next time.